Welcome everybody to Robbie Cornelius Self Mastery Mindset, all of the above, making money. We're all about all of that. And what I want to do is help entrepreneurs all across the United States understand what it takes to be an elite thinker, an elite action taker, and an elite in your industry. Now, I'm using those words consciously, okay? And the reason why I'm using those words consciously is because I have an elite automotive sales genius expert, okay? One of the most amazing individuals I've come across in this space. He breaks it down to the ridiculous, and he doesn't just talk about automotive sales from a technical standpoint. He talks about the importance of building relationships. He talks about the importance of knowing who you truly are as an individual. He talks about, you know what? Without any further ado, it's Mark Rodriguez. Mark, thank you for coming on the podcast, my brother.
Robbie, thank you for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak with you about something that really for the last 25 to 30 years of my life has allowed me to provide a great life for my family, for myself. It's allowed me to impact countless folks in the automotive industry in different departments, different positions, ranging from sales through service through the BDC. And for those of you who don't know what a BDC
What's the BDC? Yeah.
That's a business development center. You know, a long time ago, salespeople, they used to do their own financial work. They were contacting the banks themselves, and someone came into the dealership. I believe it was Pat Ryan, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. But someone came in, someone basically noticed that, you know, you got 10 salespeople contacting different banks.
Okay.
And it really wasn't productive. They were wasting time. So what they decided to do was build this department called the F&I manager, or I should say F&I, finance and insurance.
Okay.
And so by having one or two people making all those phone calls to the banks, right, it leveraged the power of these individuals because they now built these relationships and they got really, really good at working these banks. Fast forward, you have 17, 20 salespeople in the dealership, and when they're hired, they got to learn the product. They have to learn paperwork. They have to learn so many different things that the one skill set that usually gets thrown overboard is how to master the phone. So this guy, a guy came in and he said, hey, just like F&I, you know, having 17 people go to the banks, why don't we have a department of people handle all the inbound sales calls, the internet leads, the outbound phone calls, and let salespeople do what they do really well, which is the face-to-face. And so today in 2023, we've got dealerships that have BDCs. These groups of people who are handling the inbound and outbound communications, everything except for the actual face-to-face interactions that would lead up to selling the car on the showroom floor. So I train those. I install service BDCs. I train them in both sales and service. And it's funny you mentioned in the intro my mastery, because even obviously in automotive sales, the number one sale that has to be made, whether you're working on the phone or you're working face-to-face, you got to be sold on the fact that you are the best person who's qualified to help this individual to build that connection, and that you work for the absolute best dealership who's able to serve these customers. So it starts with that core philosophy. You believe you're the best and you work for the best, and you go and get it. You know, you get training. You go in there and the typical onboarding process for a salesperson today, it really hasn't changed over the years. And what I mean by that, Robbie, is most salespeople come in full of enthusiasm and joy and happiness, and they're now embarking on this new career, and
Yeah.
they've heard some things. They've heard that, man, you can make a lot of money in the automotive business. In fact, that was very true during the pandemic. I mean,
Yeah.
millionaires are being made in automotive. But then something happens. Something happens. And that thing that happens is when you think you've arrived and you don't have to learn more, you don't have to become more, you don't have to invest in yourself, when you don't have to, continue, to develop a philosophy of continuous and never ending improvement. What,
Correct.
what typically happens, Robbie, is we call it in the automotive industry, we call it the green pea effect. Green pea effect is where you have a really well-intentioned person who interviews for a job at a car dealership.
Yeah.
His motive is to make money because that's what he hears. You know what he doesn't hear, Robbie? Let me tell you what he doesn't hear. He doesn't hear about the stereotypes that exist in the automotive industry. What are the
Exactly.
stereotypes, you might ask?
We all know those stereotypes, right?
Yeah. Well, so for
Yeah.
decades, people don't like the back and forth. They don't like that, that we appear to not want to be transparent. We like over
Correct.
the phone, you'll hear salespeople say, "Oh no, we don't give prices over the phone," or no, you have to come in. Or how's your credit? These high pressure questions that are done over the phone that really push the customer away.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Exactly.
a guy like me, I come in and I say, okay, what is the goal? What are your goals? What would you like to accomplish as a result of, if you had a magic wand and you were able to arrive as the world's best salesperson? What would that look like? What would it look like to totally master this thing called automotive sales, both face to face and on the? What would that look? What would that feel like? Who
Mm.
would you be as a person? How much money would you have in your account? And more importantly, what would you do with that money?
Yeah.
Where would you? What? So now we're getting people to talk about their goals and their dreams, and we're putting it in writing, and not just in writing. We're putting dates
Mm.
on when they want to fulfill these goals. Because
Mm.
listen, I can give anyone a workbook and say, here's what we call the road to the sale. But if commitment isn't in there, if the salesperson doesn't understand why he's doing what he's doing, if he doesn't have a goal, an end in mind, in other words, what is the driving force that's going to keep him continuing on
Yeah.
in this journey where he wakes up every day? Because you got to understand, salespeople represent about 3% of the population, for which the other 97% would never dream of doing what they do. You know what that is? To wake up every day and know that you're going to hear the word no
Exactly.
all day long.
You got to eat what you kill.
Yeah, you do. You
That's
gotta.
strong language, but it's
But Robbie, it is absolutely the truth.
yeah.
It's the truth. So what do? I go in and I train automotive professionals how to deliver world-class service over the phone
Okay.
initially. Why? Because we're judged not only by what we say, but how we say it,
Yeah.
and really what we're focused on as we say it. That's a really important concept to kind of wrap your mind around. That
Correct.
that last piece. What are you focusing on? Because if you're focused on the money, well, guess what? You're not going to be in automotive very long,
Correct.
because the money is not going to be enough to keep you doing what you're doing when
Going
you're
through the
not
ups and
making
downs.
money.
Going through them ups and downs of the sales cycle.
100%.
You
And
gotta have passion about it. I just had a phone call this morning with a guy that I credit for making me the man that I am today. I had a phone call with him this morning, and that phone call was about how you have to have passion. And he
yeah,
says, you know what, Robbie, people come to me all the time, and he says, they ask me, they want to be a multimillionaire as well. And he says, I thought about you. I hadn't talked to him in a couple of months. And he said, I was thinking about you last night by the pool. And I was reflecting on our life and our journey together. He says, when I found you, you had nothing. He says, you didn't have a car, you didn't have a house, you were just, basically just out there. And I said, yeah. He says, do you know I have tried to teach thousands of people what I taught you? He said, and the vast majority, 99% of them, didn't get it. He said, I gave them the same information I gave you. He said, and honestly, I had to take a step back because it was painful because I attached my value to their outcome. And he said, it dawned on me that I can give them the information, but I can't make them do anything with the information. And he said, I thought about you. He said, damn, that damn Rob has become a self-made man. He said, and I thought about all the other people I come across. He said, and it dawned on me that, man, not everybody is a chosen one. He said, you know what a chosen one is? I said, what's a chosen one? He says, a chosen one is a person that knows who they are and a person that is going to do what they are absolutely passionate about. He said, that's why you're winning. You're winning because you're absolutely passionate about what you do. And I said, you're right. And I said, you know what just dawned on me? The same energy you gave to me is the same energy I'm giving to other people. But if I didn't have the mindset, as you spoke about just now, if I didn't have the mindset to withstand, first of all, the tremendous amount of turbulence I went through, I wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be here. So getting into sales, especially automotive, and I know nothing about automotive sales, I could only imagine the mindset you have to have in order to stick with it, because the churn rate in certain sales industries are very high, because like you said, people come in, they focus on the money, and you're gonna have those slow days where it's like, baby, we didn't put any food on the table today. How does a person stay motivated during all of that when they are young, ambitious, but they don't know where their next sale is going to come from? What would you advise them on?
Let's unpack that for a moment. Let's unpack it, and let's just start out with us, with you or me.
Yeah,
right? The individual who is looking to get into automotive sales, right? What typically what got you here isn't going to get you to where you need to go.
Correct.
Right. And you mentioned information, if and there's a lot of information. I mean, here's the reality, Robbie. Somebody looking to get into sales, man, they could shorten their learning curve.
Yeah.
Big time. Just by going to YouTube.
Yes.
So much information out there, right?
Correct.
There's a lot of motivation. There's a lot of inspiration.
Correct.
But if you don't take action, it's just information.
Correct.
And if information alone could solve all of our problems, man, we'd all be skinny, happy, and rich. Right? And so here's the reality. There's a lot of people making a lot of money in automotive. There's too many people making a ton of money in automotive to say automotive is not for me. So I tell people who give up on automotive, don't ever say automotive wasn't for you. You weren't for automotive, because there's too many success stories out there of people who
100%.
who really wanted it.
100%.
People who are willing to pay the uncommon price, do the things that most people won't do,
That's right.
have the things that most people won't have.
Correct.
But selling in any industry, selling is an inside game. It's
Yes.
an inside game.
You got to
And
sell yourself on
you
yourself.
got to be able to look at the person in the mirror and say, you know what? The word no, it doesn't mean no. It means that the customer has to know more with a K. They have to know more. And also, the word no means not yet. But you
Yeah.
know what? Yes, it's coming.
Correct.
Yes, it's coming.
Correct.
If you stick with it, if you practice your craft, if you learn your inventory. Hey, and here's the other thing. Just knowing your inventory and knowing your road to the sale, it's not enough. Just knowing the road to sale and knowing the inventory and knowing how to write your contracts and your retail deal and your trade forms and all that stuff, just knowing that doesn't put you at an advantage. It
Mm.
puts you average. You are
Mm.
average.
Because
And
the
here,
average, are you saying because the average salesperson knows that?
that's a basic requirement.
Mm.
That's basics. See,
Mm.
most salespeople a year from today, they're still crying about the same things they were crying about today.
Yeah.
They didn't change their position. They didn't change the things that were going, like they didn't change their habits.
Mm.
A year from now, you'll see the same salespeople not making something happen, but watching things happen,
Yeah.
then wondering what happened.
Mm.
I've been here for 3 years.
What happened?
I don't have any repeat business. Why are my customers who leased a vehicle from me 3 years ago? Why are they walking right by me? That's
Mm.
that.
Mm.
I see that all the time,
Wow.
right? So think about it. Think about it. You and I go into a car dealership, and we both have to work, and they work plenty of hours. Let me tell you, Robbie, the automotive industry, it's not for the faint of heart, because you are you're investing, you are trading time for dollars.
Mm-hmm.
And more often than not, in the automotive industry, there's a lot more month at the end of the month, at the end of the month, than there is numbers on the board. And here's the challenge. Here's the basic challenge. Most people don't operate at a level 10 in their life. I mean,
Correct.
I had a very had a dear mentor. His name is Paul Cummings. He had a stroke and got aphasia. I love that guy. I learned so much from him. Just a
Mm.
really, really good guy. And some of the lessons I learned from him are that, we all have the same opportunity. We
Yeah.
all have the same 24 hours in a day.
Correct.
But yet there are some people who they will they will pay the uncommon price. They will, even though they look at the clock, it's going to be 9 o'clock, their vision of themselves 10, 15, 20 years from now, it's screaming at them.
Correct.
No, don't you leave. Make one more call. Make one more call. Connect with one more customer. Send out
Mm.
another letter. Send out another email. Shoot
Mm.
a text. Because most salespeople, they identify their success with the number of cars that they sell per month.
Per month. Yeah. Yeah.
However, the most successful people out there, they understand. They understand that when they sell a car, that's where their job is just beginning. That's not where it ends.
Mm.
Because if I'm like the average salesperson, I'm not going to be memorable. You see, a lot of salespeople have this misconception that selling cars it's just pushing metal. It's a means to an end. It's
Yes.
I'm going to work this week, and this month I'm going to try for 15 cars. I'm going to shoot When you ask a salesperson how much you want to make this year, they'll tell you, "Oh man, if I can make 100,000, if I can make 150,000, that would be
That would
amazing."
be amazing. Yeah.
And here's the thing, though: they just killed their dream when they said, "If I could."
Mm-hmm.
If I could is the language of loss. It's
If keeps you stiff.
the language of scarcity,
Yes.
right? But
Yes.
a more abundant way of thinking would be, no, no. This year, I'm going to make at least 150,000, and they understand that automotive, just like any other sales industry, it's a numbers game, and the numbers don't lie.
Yes.
You see, if you're not spending 40% of your time belly to belly with a customer, you're unemployed.
Mm.
You're unemployed. You see, here's the other fallacy with the automotive industry. The cost of entry is zero in the majority of the states in America. There are some states that require you to be licensed to sell. But by and large, Robbie, the cost of entry is zero.
So
And
you see,
when,
is that the reason why the churn rate is so
there's
is
no
higher?
when you don't value your time, when your time has no value, it's got no you haven't done the math.
Yeah.
You haven't sat down and gone into the lab and just blocked out every distraction that might be and all those those distractions that are disguised as opportunities. When you don't block out those distractions
Mm-hmm.
and you find yourself saying, when your self-talk is, last month I sold 25 cars, I made $20,000. You know what? I don't have to work that hard. I I, I did it before. I can do it again.
Correct.
And when you don't have a plan, when you fail to plan, man,
Plan to fail.
1,000%. But
Yep.
let's stay there for a moment. What do I mean by planning? Most automotive salespeople, when they take on a job in a dealership, here's what typically happens, Robbie. It's they'll come on board, and one of the first things they have to do is they'll go through the internet. They'll go through an interview process, and typically it's going to be a sales manager who is interviewing them. And a lot of dealerships
Mm.
across America, the people who are in management, how they got there was a result of them having a series of good months, good
Mhm.
sales. Just because you could put numbers on the board doesn't mean that you're a good leader of people.
Say that one more time, please.
Just because you've put numbers on the board for a sequence of months throughout the year, it does not equate into great leadership. It
Correct.
does not. And so it's for that reason, Robbie, that when they're interviewed and by the way, there are some amazing, amazing managers out there. There are
Yes.
amazing leaders. So I'm taking nothing away from those guys because the greatest leaders in automotive, they're the ones who they're able to identify. They can identify hunger. They could see that gleam in that salesperson's eyes, and so they nurture that salesperson. They give them all the tools, and they
Yeah.
challenge them. They challenge them, and see what happens is if in the beginning of a salesperson's experience, they're not told right up front, listen, to work at this dealership, your desk has to generate X amount of dollars per month. Now, the dealership's going to provide for you a certain number of leads. We pay for those leads. They're a privilege,
Mm.
not a right. They're not a right. See, but that doesn't go on in a lot of stores. See, a phone opportunity. Every time the phone rings in an automotive dealership, someone paid some money to make that phone ring.
Correct.
And so, if those opportunities are mishandled, man, it becomes a very, very expensive proposition when we don't hit those numbers at the end of the month. See, most people wait, most managers in the automotive industry, they measure their success by the numbers on the board. And when the numbers in the board hit at the end of the month, it's too late. It's too late
to make a change.
to solve the problem that you could have solved back in week one when Johnny had taken so many up. We call an up a customer who walks in the store when they've worked with 15 customers and only sold 2 of them, but yet in automotive, the tendency we let people just fake it and flounder.
Yeah.
And when we ask salespeople in manager meetings, well, we do our projections. How many cars are you going to sell next month? And so it'll be, I'm going to sell 25, boss. I got 25. It's rare that you'll hear a manager go, well, how are you going to get there?
They just let it go.
How you going to, with 25? You've never sold 25 at the dealership. You've only sold 11 or 12. How are you going to do? Why are you blowing smoke my way?
Yeah.
Tell me how you're going to do 25. You see, because that's a very powerful question. Because to answer that question, you've got to reduce it to the ridiculous.
Correct.
You say, okay, for me to sell 20 cars, if your closing rate, and most people don't even know what their closing rate is, right? So if I'm closing at 30%, I had to speak to a lot of people to sell 20 cars.
That's right.
Right. And so
do the math.
Exactly. And it's an algorithm. It's a formula.
Yeah.
It's the program.
Yes.
Right. It's you tell me what, and it's not just how many cars you want to sell and how to get there. It's how much money do you want to make? How much do you want to make? And what would that mean? What would it feel like to you to make that 150,000? And it's tough. It's hard because most people, they go through their entire lives treating their lives casually, and they're on track to become a personal casualty. Let me explain what I mean by that, Robbie. Most automotive salespeople, they don't walk into a dealership with the same hunger that an immigrant comes here who's like, whoa, wait a second. In my country, you can't even say certain things. You can't even like aspire to do or be certain things. Here, there's no limit on what you can make. Wait, the dealer loves to sign real fat checks. You mean you're going to pay me based on my effort? You're going to pay me based on my performance? You mean if I make more calls and I learn how to do a better job of handling these phone calls and I treat my job as a career? Because when you treat your career as a job's an acronym for just over broke.
Are most sales positions commission only in the automotive space, or is there some type of safety net in place?
By and large, it really is. The bulk of your compensation is through commission.
Okay.
And so there are regulations, there are state laws throughout the country where you may have to make a minimum wage, but you can't survive a minimum wage. Yeah. And by the way, if you're at a car dealership making minimum wage, I would tell them, get out now.
Yeah.
Go work at McDonald's. See, I think the other thing is, and this is why, as much as it's really important, not just to know your product, right? And know your competition, you got to know yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to be able
know who you are.
Yeah, because what got you here isn't going to get you to where you need to go. It's not going to.
Correct.
Let me share with you another example. What I mean by that. I mentioned the green pea effect before. And the green pea, that's a brand new salesperson who they've never sold cars before. And all they know is, Robbie, you are my mentor. You're going to show me the way. Yeah. I'm going to do everything you tell me to do.
Yeah.
Everyone. You're telling me don't prejudge, don't pre-qualify, treat everyone with excitement, with a smile, show up with confidence, come in with a clean clothes and pressed, and because that's my package, right? I understand that people form an opinion about you in the first 15, 20 seconds of the engagement. Correct. And are dismissing you, or they're saying, I want to work with this person. In fact, it
Mhm.
even happens before that, Robbie, because we live in the digital world. You
They
know, I
Google you.
tell salespeople, look, what was your last 3 or 4 purchases online? Okay, you bought a TV. All right. So did you just walk into the store and buy the TV, or did you check out some reviews? Oh, I checked out reviews. Okay. And if there was a bad review, would you go buy it? No. Why? Because why am I going to make the mistake someone else did? I said, well, listen.
Correct.
So check this out. People are making those same decisions before they even get to know you.
Correct.
There are people you will never see because of the reviews that you may have going on with customers that you served in the past. That's why reviews are a critical part of your success.
Yeah.
What I'm finding today is the more successful people who are just starting out in dealerships, they are committed. They are absolutely committed during their sales process to getting reviews.
Yeah.
Robbie, if we take a look at the journey of a salesperson has to have a really good mindset to be successful. We
Correct.
really do. They've got to be driven. They've got to be goal oriented. They have to love working with people. They
Yeah.
have to love serving people. They have to love the notion that I'm going to be there when you have a problem with your car. The challenge we have is we have a lot of salespeople who they run. They run at the first sign of an issue. See,
Yeah.
the problem for me as a sales, that's an opportunity for me to show up as that person who is delivering on the things I said I was going to do.
Correct.
If we take a look at spend a little time here, a salesperson, the reason why they want to sell cars, and I get it. You got some people, I love cars. I love cars.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, Robbie. Automotive salespeople, they don't sell automobiles. You know what they sell? They sell what these cars give their clients access to,
Correct.
right? So it's no coincidence that folks who are buying Mercedes, BMW, Lexus, it's not so much price driven, right? Because you could buy a safe, reliable car and get a Toyota or even get a Honda. Nobody buys a Mercedes Benz because it's just a safe car.
Yeah.
They buy it because of the way it makes them feel. For some people, it makes them feel like they've arrived.
That's
For
right.
some people, they buy that Mercedes because of how other people will look at them,
Correct.
right? And so, if you, as a salesperson, if you understand that, I want to talk to you about an inverted triangle. Here's the mistake that most salespeople make. So if this is a triangle, right? I can't. Well, it's like this. Let's say it's like this.
Throwing up them gang signs right
I'm
there.
throwing gang signs, right? What typically happens is the more time you spend getting to connect and know a customer in the beginning of the engagement, the less time you spend having to close the deal.
Correct. You're right.
Opposite is true. If I take shortcuts and I go right to price in the beginning of the engagement, I end up spending a lot of time trying to close them.
You're 100% right.
Right?
100% right.
But
Connection is the closing.
connection is everything.
I just right before we talked, I spent 30 minutes on a phone call from someone that I got a text message from directly yesterday.
Right.
Now, typically my people deal with people. Sometimes people send these people directly to me. And so I'm not going to say, hey, call Sally, or call our office or whatever. I'll talk to that person. So when I got on the phone call, the first thing I asked, and it's unconscious at this, it's consciously unconscious at this point, because I'm genuinely curious. Hey, what's going on? How was your day today? Oh, that was good. We just got back from New Mexico. Really? How long were you over there? 10 days. 10 days. What all did you do while you were over there? We did this, we did this, we did this. Man, and honestly, it was the first time I took a break without my work for 10 days straight. So I'm not even, I know why he's calling, but I'm not even talking about that. I want to know, I literally want to know where he is, what mindset he has, so I can better understand him as a person, understanding how he thinks, how he's feeling. I know that when you come back from vacation, a lot of times you're playing catch up.
Yeah.
Right? I know you had a you just told me that this was the first time you went away for 10 days without taking any work. So I know that subconsciously you might be a little paranoid.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
I can relate to that. Trust.
You know?
Today I played catch up all day. Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's like you're so I want to know. I'm genuinely interested in this person so that I know what language to use.
Yeah.
And you know what? We spent the vast majority of that 30-minute conversation. I'll say 25 minutes of it was just talking about his personal life and what he's doing and how his son's doing in the NFL and all of these things. And in the last 5 minutes, I was like, "Oh yeah, by the way, so you were calling because you needed a package, right, for your mortgage company?" "Oh yeah, absolutely." "Okay, well here I have it." And I then for 5 minutes we proceeded to talk about the actual project, and next thing you know, seal the deal because it was all about I really want to know about him as a person. Like, how are you doing as a person? That means more to me than anything. And my intentions, and I'll go back over to you, but my intention is to be a reliable source of not just information, but direction. Because maybe we're not if you tell me exactly what you want, maybe we're not the right one for you, but I can tell you exactly where to go to get what you're really looking for. If we are the right one for you, I'm about to prove it by showing you, showing you why we're the right ones for you. And you know what? This is the third package we've sold this particular guy in 3 months. That's one. That's one package per month related to new projects, and it's he keeps coming back because somebody recommended him directly to me. And when he reached out to me the first time, I talked to him like he was a person rather than just another dollar on the end of the phone, because that's not what it's about. So I love what you're saying.
Well, here's the other thing. I think that if here's another misconception that brand new and even seasoned salespeople have. They see themselves as salespeople, but not problem solvers.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Correcto mundo.
Who comes into the dealership or calls in on the phone, they have a problem.
Correct.
They have a problem.
Correct.
So whether their lease is coming due, whether they total their car, whether who knows, they have a problem.
Correct.
And you have a solution for.
Correct.
Now here's the thing. You listening to you, I'm saying, wow, those you just proved that those skill sets, those communication skill sets, they translate over into other industries.
Correct.
Nobody really, and this is like this is worn out, but I live by it. Nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. And it's not just a question of knowing that you care. It's you've got to prove that you care.
100%.
Listen, if the pandemic has taught us anything, it's that number one, we're in a phase of life where if we're not embracing technology, if we're not having technology serve us,
yes,
we will end up serving technology.
100%.
Right?
100%.
So when I walk into dealerships and I show them the power of AI and I show them how to create prompts that'll help them to just dominate their market and position themselves to be, the competitive advantage in their primary marketing area. When I build them a digital business card, where now it's not a question, because think about it. I just got through telling you earlier, customers, there's a lot of customers out there, and if you read the reviews on the average dealership, man, if you said to me, Mark, that store down the street,
Yeah.
let's say ABC Toyota, what would you need to do to just dominate that market?
Yeah.
Who would you need to be? Who would you need to show up as in terms of a salesperson, a professional that could absolutely blow every salesperson away? You know what I would tell you? All I need to do is take a look at their Google reviews. And here's what I would do. I would take all their reviews. I would look at the good ones, and I would look for commonality in terms of what does it look like when a customer is happy?
Yes.
What does it sound like when you're reading, when the customer is satisfied? They're beyond satisfied. They are like over the top happy.
Yeah.
Because here's what. Now, what does it look like when a customer has lost trust? They've lost faith.
Correct.
They will never want to come back to that store.
Correct.
You see, I think Tony Robbins said it, success leaves clues, right? If you really want to find out how to delight customers, just read those really positive reviews and make a proactive commitment to look at those keywords. And what are some of those words? Wow, Robbie was patient. He was kind. He went above and beyond. He delivered the car to my home, to my business. He treated my wife and my kids with respect. He had some things for them to play with and little coloring books. Man, Robbie was just, everything was perfect. When we went to pick up our car, it was the most incredible experience. Like a circle of people came around. We spun a wheel. We rang a bell. How about this experience? Robbie Cornelius? Oh man, I went into the dealership and he said to me straight out, he said, "Welcome to ABC Toyota. My name is John, and you are," and I told him my name. And he said to me, "Mr. Rodriguez, let me ask you a question. Who's the new vehicle for? You or someone else?" I said, "It's going to be for my daughter." He said, "Really? Is it a special occasion? Is something you need to deserve?" I said, "It's a special occasion." "What's the occasion?" "She's graduating. She's graduating college." Wow. And when Robbie goes, "Wow, that's amazing. Man, she's lucky to have a dad like you, man." I tell you what, how about would you allow me to help you make this a mind-blowing experience for your daughter? "What do you mean, Robbie?" "Well, would you like to have a big bow on that car? And where would you like me to deliver that car to your home? Are you having a graduation party? Would you like me to pull up with that car just as the party's ending? Would you like me to video that for you? You want to make a sign for her?" Man, let me tell you something.
That sells it. You just sold the vision. I can see all of that.
We sold what we didn't sell anything. What we did was we created an experience for that. And you hear that word thrown around a lot. Create an experience.
Yeah.
In order to create that experience, you have to have the mindset of a servant leader. You have to have in your DNA, you've got to be disciplined.
Yeah.
To understand it's not about this car. It's about the next 5 cars. It's about the cars that the neighbors are driving. Because I guarantee you, and I learned that from Paul Cummings, I guarantee you, if you, and here's the reality. Do you know I know most salespeople wouldn't even do that? I'm not delivering a car to Robbie Cornelius' daughter's graduation on my time. Sundays are precious to me and my family, man. I'm not going to drive my car. But that's small thinking. That's narrow-minded thinking. You see, When you don't respect your time and you don't look at your time as having a value, then you piss your minutes away. The minutes become hours, the hours become days, the days become weeks, the weeks become months, and the months become years of never really arriving.
Yep.
And you look back on your career and you go, man, is this all there was? I will tell you, there's a saying in the automotive industry, and it goes like this. It says, "You're only as good as your last month." You know who says that?
Who's that?
Yeah, those salespeople who do the absolute bare minimum.
Mm.
They don't step outside their comfort zone. They don't make themselves available. These are people who, when you ask them, why should I buy from you? They can't answer. They can't, like, there's a saying that when you see yourself in the picture, you can't see yourself in the frame,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Correct.
So there are so many tools available. See, one of the things I have an amazing, I have passion and I have compassion
Yeah.
for salespeople. Let me explain what I mean by that, Robbie. And let me go back in time. I'm going to go back in time to my experience. I was a brand new salesperson, you know, and the guy who trained me, he wasn't around very long. I mean, at this store, we had new cars, we had used cars. There really was no internet back then. It was,
Mm.
well, we had, the big thing was the fax. I'm showing my age now, man. It
Fax
was the fax
machine.
machine. Yeah. These leads were called auto advantage leads. But here's the thing, Robbie. Back then, most customers were going to the local dealers because they had no access to information. Right? What did the internet do? The internet changed the landscape forever. It would never be the same,
Correct.
ever. Right? Because no longer are customers tied down to the local dealer. Now they go online, and now they're spending about 8 to 14 hours online doing research,
Yeah.
and they are only visiting like 1.5, 1.4, like one dealership. What does that mean? That means that on the phone, you've got one shot. You got one shot,
Yes.
right? Before that customer dismisses you. So when you find yourself saying something like, "Oh, we don't have that car," at the very beginning of the phone call, they're gonna hang up on you. When you are not impeccable with your word, and that's one of the four agreements by Don Luis Miguel. Being impeccable with your word means that you do what you say you're going to do,
Mm-hmm.
and you live your life based on this creed that says you might know more than me. You may have a lot more product knowledge than me. You may know more about trade-ins and the competition, but you know what? You're never going to outwork me.
Yeah.
That's the mindset of a champion,
Yeah.
because a champion never truly arrives. He's always taking, there's always another level. There's always another step. There's
Correct.
always another place to go.
Correct.
Right? So what we find in the automotive industry, much like in regular life, is people will argue for their limitations.
Correct.
It's hot outside. Oh, it's too cold. Oh, it's raining, man. This person isn't ready for a car right now. I'm not going to go out in the rain. It's 10 degrees out.
Correct.
So the mind, the mental warfare. If you can battle the voices in your brain that are telling you that you're not worthy of it,
Yep.
that person isn't going to buy from me, they won't buy from me.
Yeah.
I don't, you know what I mean? It's all this self talk.
I'm black. I'm white. I'm too
Right?
old. I'm too tall. I'm too short.
Yeah.
All of this stuff.
See, there's a saying that goes
Which
that
we discovered this weekend. You are taller than me.
yes, sir. Yes, I thought you were very tall, man. But I will tell you this though. I will tell you this.
I said, "What, Mark?"
There's a lot of salespeople when I ask them, I'll say, "Where's your car? Where's your car parked?" Right, and we'll walk over to the car. I go, "Turn on your radio. What do you have on your radio? What do you listen to?
Mm.
Rap, it's jazz, it's rock." So wait a second. So most people won't look at their car as a university on wheels. If they're driving to work, they won't take that, they won't invest that time to learn another skill.
Correct. You know what my philosophy is? I
Tell
want to
me.
be smarter than I was when I get to point B than I was when I was at point A. Like when I get in the vehicle, it's audio books. My family is like, man, this dude is so boring because it's audio books and it's podcasts
Right.
all the time because I'm still curious. I want to know. I want to learn more. I want to be more. I want to have more. I want to think bigger. And case in point, I go to sleep with, I don't even know if I won't say this on podcast. I might,
Go ahead, man.
I was gonna say I go to sleep with headphones on.
Yeah.
I listening to audiobooks. Like I fall asleep every single night listening to audiobooks and wake up in the morning right after meditation, sitting there listening to audiobooks, listening to the sound of my own voice, hypnotizing myself over and over and over and over and over again. You're right. Your automobile could be the best university you've ever experienced.
Listen, that's all I play audiobooks. I'm 57 right now, and I'm still a student.
Don't look it, bro.
I'm always learning.
That's it.
I will never arrive.
Correct.
Why? Because there's always another level. There's
Always.
always something else to learn. See, when I go into a dealership, I'm cognizant of the fact that if I'm not on the top of my game, if I'm not at the edge, at the cutting edge of technology, if I don't know about AI, I don't know about how to create my own chat bot that I can feed and teach my selling language. If I'm not consciously and proactively looking for the tools that I can stack to help take people to the next level.
Correct.
Not just stay average, because I think it's Eric Thomas that one of his first videos was being allergic to average. And I heard the story about he told the story about the guy who said who was a guru, and this guy was going throughout the land looking for this guru because he wanted to be the best, and he figured this guru could teach him everything he'd need to learn. So he sought him out, and he said, "Hey, teach me to be like you." And he said, "Are you serious?" "Yeah, I'm serious. Teach me to be like you." And he said, "Well, meet me at the beach tomorrow at 5 a.m, let's just say." And the guy shows up in a suit, and the guru's in the water. And he says, "You need to come in the water." He said, "Oh, I'm gonna get my suit wet." So he's walking and walking. He's like, the water's coming up to like his neck. And the guru says, "So you really want to be the best? How bad do you want to be the best?" He goes, "Real bad." So he proceeds to push his head under the water, and he keeps him there. You see him bubbles coming up the water. His arms are flailing. Like he's practically drowning. You know what I mean? At the last moment, he pulls the guy up, and he's like screaming, "What, are you crazy? You trying to kill me?" And he asked the guru, him, "What is the one thing you wanted most while you were underwater?" He said, "What do you mean? I want to breathe."
Correct.
And when you want to succeed as badly as you want to breathe,
That's it.
and you'll be a success.
100%.
But here's where we're at today. We live in a world of instant gratification.
Yes.
We live in a world where it's enough for a person to do the scroll, to be a consumer and not be a content creator.
That's right.
Those salespeople, every time, how do you feel knowing every time you do this, you're making somebody rich?
Yeah.
How does it feel? How does it feel to know that every time you stop your scroll and you keep doing this, you're feeding an algorithm that's designed to keep you away from your dream?
Correct.
How does it feel to know that this right here, which is an unbelievable tool, this right here is stronger than most of the computers in the world? Right here.
Correct.
In your hand, you've got a device, a tool that can be used to single-handedly bring you down or lift you to levels that you have never experienced.
Yep.
And what it comes down to is it's your commitment level. It's how you see yourself. I have seen the enemy, right? And that enemy is me, right? I have looked in the mirror understand something. Most people have a negative view
Of themselves.
about how they show up in the world. They don't feel worthy.
Yeah.
They don't feel the fact that they are an absolute miracle. They are a miracle of creation, that they beat out millions, billions of sperm just to make it.
Oh yeah.
People don't treat themselves as being privileged. Like, they've got this unbelievable.
Yeah.
Now, watch this now. I look at it as a responsibility, not privilege. I have a responsibility to show up as the best version of me in alignment with my values. I have a grandson coming up. Grandson's going to come into the world in the beginning of October. And see, I didn't have the benefit of having a relationship with both of my grandfathers.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah.
So I didn't even have a relationship with both of my grandmothers. So I've got this unique opportunity to just deliver all of the life lessons I've learned.
Correct.
To pave a way that would give my grandson the opportunity to make great choices.
100%.
Listen, I was raised, you're going to go to school, you're going to work 40 years, you're going to retire. Man, no such thing.
Not anymore.
You see, a lot of people they have no concept of what it is to manage their dreams.
Yes.
And so when you can't manage your dreams and you don't know what you would do, if you were to arrive at this place you'd love to be, then what happens is you get caught up in binge watching Netflix. You get caught up in not getting that balance in your life. We all have roles in our lives. I'm a father. Both of my parents are gone. I'm still a son. I've got work. I've got a responsibility to my automotive clients, my physical health, my spiritual health, my mindset. See, the one pillar out of the ones I just mentioned, if you picture those as glass balls, if I don't treat my family with love and respect, and I abandon my family, I ignore my family, that's a glass ball. It's going to break if I drop it. I can't make up for, not being there. It's very, very difficult to put that back together. It's not impossible, but it's difficult.
Yeah.
If I don't respect my body, and I don't respect, the food I'm putting in, what I'm using for nutrition, man, I'm 57. Last thing I want to do is at the age of 70 be on my way out with dementia and everything else.
Yeah.
Health is really important. That's a glass ball. If I drop my responsibility to take care of my health, man, it's going to be over before I know it. If I don't work on my spirituality, my mindset, meditation, if I'm not dreaming really, really big, then I'm becoming I'm really becoming just
a shell of my former self.
There you go.
The spirit in you dies if you're not stretching.
Absolutely. But now work, I could lose my job tomorrow. But you know what? I could rebound. We live in the greatest country on earth. You see, a lot of salespeople, they look to get into automotive because they think it's going to be easy, because they heard you can make a lot of money. But here's the reality. The reality is, you're going to have to work hard, and working smart, and working as though if Robbie Cornelius hired me in his dealership, I have to treat that job as a career, like a business within inside of a business. Meaning, I've got $1 billion nameplate at the top on the roof of the building. Let's say it is Toyota. And what does that mean? Well, they're known for being very reliable, right? They're known, like their used cars are known for being like great used cars. Why? They're no offense to Kia and Hyundai, but I got to tell you, there's a lot of engines out there, a lot of recalls and engines, transmissions. You don't hear that going on with Toyota, Lexus. You don't really hear that. The point I'm making is, if you hired me as a salesperson in your dealership and you didn't transfer the vision, your vision, if you didn't make me understand that to work at your store means that I have to do the following. I've got to make 50 phone calls, at least 50 phone calls a day. I have to, I've got to master the phone. I've got to master I have to know my inventory, both new and pre-owned. I have to know my competition.
Correct.
But if you don't instill that in me, and you leave me to my own devices, and this is what happens out there. So what do? They hire a guy like me to come in. So here I come in, and I'm giving them food, man. I'm giving them a lot of education, a lot of motivation. I'm giving them a lot of inspiration. We're role playing. But if there isn't someone to champion the training once I leave, then they end up going back to their old ways.
Old ways, yeah. So how do you do that? Do you have a system in place right now that will help champion?
So it's funny you said, because I am working on an online education academy right now, so that any salespeople who aren't getting the attention that they need, the education that they need, the motivation that they need, the inspiration that they need to do more and be more, to take their lives from where it is right now to a level that they never thought possible. And I break it down. Step by step by step. Laying out clear, actionable items that they can work on to become the absolute best person they could be, not just in automotive, but in their lives.
Yes.
Because it's very difficult to be an amazing father, an amazing, a thought leader, an amazing. It's very rare when you've got your, pardon my French, shit together in every aspect of your life, and then you go into work in automotive. It's rare that with good leadership, that person is going to do a horrible job. It is rare. Here is what you see happening. The home life is a wreck. There's no discipline at all. When things are falling apart outside of the automotive space, man, it just makes it a job. It makes it like,
because you got to shift that mindset that they're getting at home.
Absolutely.
They got a different mindset away from the office.
Well, Robbie, listen, let's take a look at it. Yeah, cars. Listen, you don't need me to sell a Toyota. That Toyota practically sells itself.
Yeah.
There's so much information out there right now. People doing their research long before they walk in the store. They know what they want.
Correct.
But what happens though, Robbie? You got customers coming in thinking that they want a Highlander, thinking that they want a Camry. But you know what happens when they meet with an amazing, consultative, servant-minded salesperson?
What's that?
That person now says, okay, Robbie, hey, I understand you want to get into a Camry. That's a beautiful car. It's a beautiful car. Tell me, how did you want your vehicle equipped? Oh, I want leather interior. Really? Why is that important to you? Well, I've got kids. I have a dog. Totally understand. And what kind of dog do you have? Oh, I got a Labradoodle. Really? Wow. How old is he? Am I talking about the car anymore? No. I'm talking about the things that matter most to the person. Yeah. And so the customer's feeling like, wow, this guy, he's not like the average salesperson. Yeah. He's got to know me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the reason why it's important, Robbie, is because if I can develop that trust and develop that connection, then I'd say to you, hey, Robbie, you know what? Before we go look at the Camry, could I show you a Corolla? Could save you thousands of dollars, upwards of $100 or more on the monthly payment. Would you at least consider it? And if Robbie said to me, well, yeah, I would consider it. The only reason why I offered him a Corolla is because in the conversation, I'm hearing him say to me the things he's looking for. I can get the same thing in a Corolla. I could help him. I could save him money.
Yeah.
I don't care if he buys a Toyota, a Corolla, or a Camry, or I don't care. I'm looking to get my customers into the most affordable vehicle that's going to work for them. And it helps me out because let's say Robbie's credit wasn't that strong. I'm going to have an easier time getting him approved on a Corolla than I would a Camry. But check this out. What if he said to me, no, I want to look, I still want that Camry. Sir, helping you find a Camry, that's the easy part of my job. I'm glad that you see the additional value that the Camry has. What am I doing? I'm prepping him because I'm gonna listen. I am justified. He just justified why I should ask for all the money on that car. And I would tell him, and Robbie, if for any reason the Camry doesn't work out, we could always go take a look at the Corolla. What did I just do for Robbie?
Gave me another option.
I gave him a chance to save face.
Yeah.
Because if I just take him straight to the Camry and it turns out to be too much money, you know what he's going to say when I show him the price and go, you know what? Let me think about it.
And then he's gone because he's not going to.
Let me talk to my wife.
Exactly.
And those are all stalls.
Yeah.
That could have possibly been avoided if I listened to the customer. Correct. And I offered the customer options. On the phone, it's a totally different dynamic. You know, I don't know how much time you have, brother, but let me tell you, I think it's evident I love what I do.
Yes, you do. That's why I wanted you to come on and share with people your passion for this.
Well, Robbie, here's my goal. My goal is to leave nobody behind.
Yeah.
I don't want to leave anyone behind. And I'm at a stage of my life where I've got these tools, man. I got these incredible tools, from digital business cards to strategies and techniques and deploying AI and different programs to things that people haven't even heard of.
Yeah.
It's mind-blowing that when implemented and deployed, it just elevates their game, takes their game to another level.
100%. 100%. 100. So with you being in this space, okay, you have seen so many different types of walks of life, so many different types of mindsets, so many people that come in and think that they can, do one thing and end up doing another. What are the common traits do you see from some of the people that are your top performers, top producers, time and time again?
They're unreasonable. They are unreasonable with themselves. They have an uncommon will.
These are my type of people you're talking about right here, dude.
They have an uncommon words like perseverance, consistency, discipline, both on the job and off the job. You know, who they are in the dealership is exactly who they are at home, right? You know, there is no imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Right. They don't look at a customer as a one-time deal.
Yeah.
They look at a customer as, a network. They understand that their network is their net worth.
Yes.
Let me repeat that. They understand that to get them from where they are to where they need to be, they can't do it themselves. They can, but they can only get halfway there because there's only 24 hours in a day. They build a network using technologies, skills, strategies, and techniques. If they are able to if they can duplicate themselves, duplicate their efforts, and just create an uncommon experience for the customer. See, the most successful people out there, they understand they don't have to do it alone. And they also understand that their time has a dollar figure. See, that person making $500,000 a year, they understand that they are not best served doing paperwork. Hire someone to do that paperwork.
Yes.
They are best served creating connections, being the face of their business, building their business.
I love that.
When you ask me what separates, the above average, the super sellers, right? The people who have kind of figured out from the ones who aren't doing it, you can spot them right away.
Correct.
They're looking down. They're
Yes.
shoulders down. They're breathing shallow.
Yeah.
Think about it. A lot of people in the automotive industry, and I say this with a little bit of sadness, they're the only ones in the room that's telling them that they can't make it. They're the only voice that they're hearing that's full of doubt is their own. It's their own voice, and it's sad. It's sad because in a moment you could flip the switch
Yes.
just by saying, you know what, I am so happy and grateful that I am just dominating my industry. I am so happy and grateful that tomorrow I don't know how many people are going to see me, but I'm going to show up. I'm going to help as many people as I can, with my products and services. I'm going to seek to first understand before I'm understood. I'm going to leave all my bullshit out the door.
Correct.
And I'm going to step into the professional greatness that I know I'm capable of. I'm going to tap into my potential and take the actions necessary to get the results I know I deserve. I
Yeah.
deserve to be great. I am worthy of great. I am worthy of being one. And here's the thing, Robbie, when you achieve those results, it reinforces your belief, your spirit, that you're working at the right dealership at the right time, you're in the right place. And when you got that feeling going on, man, you start tapping into even more of your potential. But here's the danger. Here's the danger. And this is why after a couple of months, you've got these green peas, right? Who first few months, man, they set the world on fire, Robbie. They're delivering 15, 20 cars. If they have a good manager, they're doing everything that they're being told. And then something happens in month 2 or 3. And here's what happens. They start noticing Johnny is not taking that customer because they hear him say, oh, he's not a buyer. She's not a buyer. Look at what they're wearing. Look at the car that they just drove in with. They can't get approved for that. And so what they start doing, Robbie,
Oh my God.
is
They
they start,
qualifying people in their mind.
yeah, and they pass up on deals. They don't have that same hunger that they had in month 1. The super successful are always hungry.
Always
They're
hungry.
always hungry. They don't prejudge or qualify. They know that even though the person in front of them might be a short deal, they understand the power of networking.
Yes,
They know that if you treat that person like gold, this person might lead them to so many more opportunities, right? But because they said yes to themselves, they said yes to their future. They adopted the philosophy that the word no means not yet, but yes is coming. They're not like that salesperson who, quick story. I know we got to wrap this up, but quick story. Someone shared this with me, and it's a story about a salesman, ironically, who he was a salesman in the country. It was a really hot day. It was like 100 degrees out. He wanted something cold to drink. So he pulled up to this little like store, had a little porch there, and he parks his car. He walks up the stairs, and as he's about to walk in, he looks over to his right, and he notices this big dog, and it's just yelping, bro. It's just crying there, and it strikes him as being odd. He said, "Why is this dog crying out there?" So he walks in, still thinking about the dog. So he goes to grab a nice cold iced tea, goes to the clerk, and he says, I got to ask you a question, man. What's the story with that dog out there? Why is he crying? Oh, I don't mind him. He's always crying. Yeah, but why? Well, he's sitting on a nail. Sitting on a nail. Why doesn't he get up? And the clerk said, because it doesn't hurt enough.
Correct.
See, far too often in life, people become conditioned to their environment.
Yep.
And so the conditioning of life forms a callus. And so one bad decision turns into a lifetime of regret.
Yeah.
The decision to not take action, the decision to not make one more phone call, the decision to not master your craft and learn the steps to effectively be just dominating the phone, the decision to not play those audio books in their car and treat
Yes.
their time on the road as an education. When you make the conscious decision to not respect your time, to not invest in yourself, to invest in your own training, when you make the decision to sit back and wait for something to happen and watch something happen as opposed to making something happen, see, over time, these little errors in judgment
They build
or
up.
they build up,
They
and,
do.
and what they deliver is a life of mediocrity.
I agree. I agree.
You agree with that?
I agree. 100%. 100. You got to stay at it. Guys, thank you. Mark, thank you
My pleasure, man.
for bringing it. You brought it tonight.
Oh
You
my! Listen,
dropped jewel after jewel after jewel after jewel.
there's
Let
more.
everybody know how to contact you. If they want you to come into their dealership and transform their sales team, if they want to contact you, where should they go? How should they contact
Well,
you?
the very first thing I would say to anyone who wants to step up their game, whether you want to work with me or hire me, or the very first thing I would encourage you to do is go over to, and you can find me 24/7 at the webassetgroup.com.
Mm,
Go there and in fact, that's where I'll be communicating with my customers a lot. Anyone, prospect, whoever, web asset group. And the reason why I say the web asset group is because in the web asset group, it is just filled with positivity. You won't find negativity there.
not at all.
It is not a cable. It's not a cable channel, right? It's not CNN. It's not Fox. It is all web asset group is committed to delivering education, motivation, inspiration in bite-sized chunks that will allow you to absolutely take your life to another level. Whether you're looking to add a little more digital to your world, you want to learn to develop more of a positive mindset. Understand something, man. You know, the education system, the public education system out there right now, it's dangerous, and I can get in trouble for saying that.
Yeah.
Here's the say it's dangerous. Our kids are not being taught to be critical thinkers. They're not taught to use reasoning. They're not taught to think outside of the
Right.
limitations of the people who are actually teaching them. It's very rare you'll find a multi-million-dollar entrepreneur teaching second graders,
Correct.
right? And so,
Correct.
and it's for that reason. You need to be proactive with what you're feeding your mind, because
Yes.
what you feed your mind today becomes what you focus on tomorrow.
Mm.
If you live your life focused on what's happening with Trump, what's happening with the Democrats, what's happening with that, man,
That's going to eat you up inside so much.
just going down the spiral. It's
Oh
not
my
helping you
God.
sell cars.
How many people waste their time on that garbage? A lot.
Listen, you can find me at webassetgroup.com. You could email me. My email address is mark, MARK, at real simple now, at autoclientcare.com. I'll even put my cell phone out there. It's 973-986-1055. Now, I might be helping a client, but I promise you, I will get back to you.
And he
Robert,
definitely
thank you for this opportunity to share with you here. And if it isn't obvious by now, I love serving people. I love helping people to discover their true potential. The number one problem I see out there right now is those people who think they've arrived. They're seduced by success.
Yes.
And what is the seduction? What is the seduction of success? It's hitting a point. It's getting to the 99-yard line
Yeah.
and stopping.
Yes.
Not going the full distance. It's stopping because you believe you've arrived.
Yes. Yeah. Never believe you're right.
It's putting a It's putting a cap. It's putting a limitation.
Correct.
It's saying I want to make 150,000 as opposed to I want to make at least 150,000.
Yeah. Per month.
I'll end with this, Robbie. I will say that the automotive industry has been amazing to me, man. Amazing. And the one thing I learned in my years in automotive is if I wanted to raise, all I needed to do was sell another car, book another appointment on the phone,
Yes.
learn more skills, learn my competition. If I wanted to raise, all I needed to do was just show up as a better version of me.
That's phenomenal.
Fill my mind with the right information, with the tool, get access to tools that would help me to show up so that people would want to work with me. They want to send their people, their friends, family, their neighbors, whoever they know to me. And here's the thing, in automotive, if you want to raise, your raise will become effective the moment that you do. Rob, thank you so much for your time, man.
Thank you for your time.